Hello, hello, everyone. Whoop. Hello, hello. It is a pleasure to kind of almost meet you all. I am so super excited to be with you here today and to share all these juicy golden nuggets and tidbits of wisdom that I have for you. So, the topic of today is how to cure yourself of anything and look and feel great too. So, my intention for you all today is to bring you the same health, wellness, and joy all of this content and its associated practices has brought me. So, today I have a little present for you. Aside from this training, I will be giving you something called mental magic. So, the Mental Magic Manifesto is a set of guidelines I live by, and I encourage my clients to live by too. It's simple, easy, and incredibly effective, and it doesn't take any time at all, and only very little effort, yet it is completely life-changing. It's been massively beneficial for myself and my clients in maintaining a space of perfect health, happiness, and harmony, as is everything else I have for you in store today. So I will be gifting this mental magic to those of you that stay until the end of this webinar. But why at the end? Because you would need to understand the information I share with you throughout this presentation, as well as the pro tip I share at the end, in order to understand how and why mental magic is so effective. And it involves a little bit of neuroscience and some psychology, but I made it all super simple and digestible, I promise. Okay, so let's get started. So, today we are discussing pro tips, right? So just to make sure you're in the right place, that's what we're here to do today. So point 1 and 2, pro tips 1 and 2, are the two most important things you need to do and avoid if you are looking to heal your body and your mind and live a better, happier life, and what you can do immediately to start. Pro tip and point number 3 is the secret weapon, but realistically it's more like magical fairy dust. But anyway, number 3 is the secret weapon my clients and I use to feel and function better immediately and for the long term. Number 4 is the one thing that you need to make sure you are doing, achieving, and maintaining daily if you want to improve your wellness and health. It is wealth in a way, but yeah, to improve your health and your wellness. And then number 5 are nuggets of juicy wisdom that is sprinkled throughout. So there are quite a few of those. So the content I provide here is likely amongst the best of its kind. So do please make sure to pay attention and to take notes because they will serve you later. So we are going to start with who this is for. So I'd like to cover this quickly because I don't want to waste your time, as I know your time is valuable and so is mine. So this is for you if you are tired of having low energy, inconvenience, discomfort, or bad moods get in the way of enjoying your life and completing daily tasks. So maybe you want your body to rebalance itself so you can eat and wear whatever you want again and go back to normal. Or maybe you get stressed out easily and you're not supposed to. Maybe you're tired all the time. Or maybe you're just tired of all the pain in the butt hospital visits and trips to the therapist or the doctor. So this is for you if you have a chronic physical or mental health problem and you are ready to treat it naturally. So I say treat it naturally, but in truth, naturally is the only way to treat such things, because otherwise you are merely suppressing the problem with medication, not treating it. Because medication rarely ever fixes the cause of the problem, it only suppresses symptoms, because there is always something deeper and mental, emotional involved. Now, I am referring purely to the case of chronic issues. I am not referring to things that are acute or anything that has been around since birth. So this is for you if you need to change things about your lifestyle in order to improve your health or wellness, and you want it to be easy. And as many chronic conditions are lifestyle related, this could very likely be you. Well, technically, if you look at it from a certain perspective, you can actually say that all chronic conditions are somehow lifestyle related. So maybe you have bad habits that you need to change. You want to develop better habits easily and more effortlessly. I mean, for example, you have emotional eating or smoking or drinking, and these things are hindering you in some way. Maybe you have trouble making and sticking to the changes you need in order to create the results you want. So just to put it in perspective for you a little bit, if you have better eating habits, for example, you will improve your mental function. It'll help you to lose weight. You'll have more energy. You'll feel better. If you develop better thinking, movement, or exercise habits, same thing. And the list goes on. And guess what? Did you know that if you only make a nominal 1% increase and change each day to better your health, and you continue that every day for 1 year, only a 1% change, guys, you will end up 37 times better than when you started. Feel free to do the math. That is the case. Change is far more impactful over the long term than we think. Isn't that amazing? And I have specific practices, shortcuts, and life hacks inside my programs that I share with my clients that help them to naturally, easily, and shockingly effectively make the changes they need to get the results they want. And also how to develop the qualities that they require to make the change easy. So develop things like discipline, willpower, self-control. And all of these methods that I use are likely nothing like anything you have ever seen before and are utterly, utterly fascinating. But I'll speak about all that later. And they do provide far more than a 1% change. So this is for you if you are looking to improve your overall health and your wellness in any way, shape, or form. So if you want to improve quality of life, or maybe you want to increase your longevity, extend your lifespan, increase your immunity, or maybe you're in pain. So this is also for you if you want to save time, effort, money, and energy on health, healing, well-being, and transformation. So maybe you tried other holistic, natural, alternative healing modalities and nothing has stuck or helped for long. Generally, how it works is if something doesn't work out for you, it's either the theory that doesn't work or the execution. So maybe have a little bit of a think about that. So this is for you if you are looking for personal transformation. So maybe you want to make some change and improve yourself in your life, but you're not sure what that change is or where to start. This is a good place, right? So you cannot have true wellness without personal development, especially if you have health problems or symptoms, okay? Because these imbalances that you have, which led to your issue, are indicative of deeper and sometimes very specific underlying issues that need attention. You cannot heal your body without healing the innermost parts of yourself, even if you don't know what they are. So look around you. Look at nature. Everything in nature grows and evolves. That's just how it works. And the same is required of us. And it's a much nicer and rewarding process than you might think, actually. So this is for you if you want to make a lot of progress in a short amount of time. So physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, if you want to enjoy your life in a more effortless way, and if you want to develop yourself as a person, connect to yourself, grow, then you are totally, totally in the right space here. This is for you if you are tired of feeling tired, stuck, uninspired, lazy, unhealthy, and unattractive. Guess what, guys? This is the time. Nothing changes if you don't. Do you want a better life? You got to do something. You got to change something. You got to maybe hustle. You got to move your butt. So also, these are all signs of an imbalance somewhere, because when we are balanced, we feel great. You wouldn't feel tired, stuck, lazy, or unattractive if you were truly in balance. That's not how it works. Feeling off could also be a side effect of medication, because that stuff messes with your body chemistry like crazy. So maybe look into that. And this is for you if you want to be the best version of yourself. So you want to feel the top of your game. You want to have energy, be healthy, be clear-headed, feel good, look good. Then this webinar is totally for you. All roads lead to Rome, guys. It's all connected, really. All these things are wellness. So if you are ready for epic transformation, if you are ready to feel, look, and function better than you ever have in your life, if you're ready to be happier, healthier, and more in tune with and connected to yourself than ever, then this is definitely for you. Okay, great. So now I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. So for those of you that don't already know me, my name is Nadine Al-Huneidi. I am a holistic wellness consultant, yoga therapist, and personal development expert. And my company is called Mind Body Magic. So I am completely and totally, utterly obsessed / passionate, I guess you could say, about mind-body medicine and the power of yoga as medicine, especially. So the reason being is that yoga saved my life, and I'll get to how and why in a little bit. And I don't only mean the kind of yoga you get in gyms or you see on Instagram. This is special stuff that not many people offer or know. The kinds of teachings that come from courses that run for 24 years. And just to be clear, guys, this presentation is not about yoga. So even if you never intend to do yoga in your life ever, you will still benefit immensely from the content in this presentation. So I run 2 programs, and one of them is called the Bliss Project, and the other is called the Bliss Method. Both are 12 weeks of epic transformation where I help participants to, where I help participants to feel, look, and function better than they have ever felt in their lives. It is truly a magical process. One is a group program, and in the other, I create a highly specialized, tailor-made program for my clients, and I work with them one-on-one to accelerate their healing and development. It's deep, profound, magical, fun, blissful. It's everything you can imagine and more. It is life-changing physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, everything. Realistically, they are the bee's knees, and I enjoy teaching them ever so much. And I know they are all fantastic because I use the same methods and practices that brought me so much healing and transformation many years ago. And they got me to where I am today. See, I wasn't always in holistic health and wellness. I used to be in fashion. I was a model, actually, a runway model. It all started when I was in university, and I told myself I was only going to do it to make money until I found a job that I liked, but that went on for like 7 years. So I was doing all of this cool stuff, and I was at all the best parties and events, and as you can imagine, I was having way too much fun to stop. And as you can also imagine, I'm sure, being a model in fashion, I fit some stereotypes. I had some bad habits. And if I'm being completely honest, I had all of the bad habits. I drank like a fish, I smoked like a chimney, and I partied like a rock star in every sense of the word. Which doesn't look or sound so bad from the outside, for sure, but on the inside, probably not so great. Definitely not so great because I was also pretty severely bulimic and anorexic, which is indicative of some deep stuff for sure, or at least it was. And that all started around the time of my father's death. So it wasn't purely because of the industry, but regardless, it happened. So to cut a long story short, I had this big stressful secret that no one knew about, and it affected my health in many ways. This continued for 6 or 7 years. It affected so many things, my friendships, my relationships. I was obsessed in not a healthy way. I was having mood swings. I was under immense self-imposed stress all the time, which I unfortunately sometimes took out on others. I'd have cycles of intense anger. My stomach wasn't working properly. My teeth were eroding. My memory was blurry because I was partying way too much and not eating anything, right? So I was living off champagne and soy lattes basically because I was terrified of gaining 100 grams. I mean, I was late everywhere. My hormones were off. My digestion was off. I mean, like, you know how they say to treat your body like a temple? Well, I was treating mine more like an amusement park. And what's weird is that even though you could see my ribs and I was skinny enough to be walking runways, I still had severe body image issues. Like, I wouldn't go to the beach because I was ashamed of my body. Like, it seriously took me a while. And how nuts is that? So I hid everything from my family because I didn't want them to worry. And, you know, basically I was Hot Mess Express. Like, I'm sure there's a few hospital visits they probably don't know about. Anyway, so one day I went to yoga. So I went for purely vanity-driven reasons, sure, to be clear. And something kept pulling me back. So it began to become a priority to me, which was pretty hilarious considering my lifestyle. So I noticed how my thoughts and feelings about things began to change. And when that happens, you are golden because it's your thoughts and feelings that drive all behavior, right? So not to mention create your inner reality. Like, I basically used to think I was so smart that I was going to continue like this and look like this forever and, you know, be a size 0 for life and et cetera, et cetera. But things started to change. I started to feel guilty for the food I was wasting while people were out there starving. And I would feel bad for my mother, worrying about how skinny I was and, you know, all these things. But anyway, so, there we are. So the way I remember it is that one day I just stopped. So I pretty much just flipped a 180 and just stopped with the bullshit. So some things stopped gradually and some things stopped immediately. So I just started to purge less and less and to stop wasting food, and I totally, completely stopped. And that was it. So this big nasty secret and this nasty disorder that was following me around for 7 years, so something that's actually pretty serious and that people actually get hospitalized and have loads of therapy for and sometimes die from, it just gradually fixed itself. And man, if the stuff I was doing was changing me, it could change anyone. I was so stubborn and so set in my ways. And almost effortlessly, I began to make these big changes. So I started to make better life choices almost effortlessly and unintentionally. And without any help, and without any guidance, without any support, without even anyone to talk to about it, I healed myself. So my addictions, my bad habits, my behavior, it all just changed. My life changed. I don't really drink anymore. Smoking is a thing of the past. I eat healthy. I rarely ever crave bad or naughty stuff and feel seriously, genuinely awesome on every level. My health is incredible. My immune system is enviable. And it was all easy and it was all effortless. And how incredible is that? So I obviously became totally and completely obsessed with yoga. So at some point during this whole healing and transformation process, a big corporation realized that, hey, I'm more than just a pretty face. So I started working for a well-known clothing brand. So I had this completely kick-ass job where I was traveling around the world, staying in 5-star hotels, mingling with good-looking people in fun places to get them to move to Dubai and model for our brand. So Dubai is where I grew up and finished university and where I was living at the time. So even though I had this idyllic dream life, partying and socializing, the company completely footing the bill, all I would think about and look forward to at the end of the day was going to yoga, which is another beautiful gift of yoga, right? Its ability to put you on your correct path in life, and is also something I help my clients with, but that is a topic for another time. So at one point, I was like, hold up a minute. I wanted to trade in sexy models, parties, and business class to sweat and stretch. This does not sound like me at all. So clearly something was happening here. Clearly the cosmos is trying to tell me something, that this yoga stuff was powerful and that maybe I should take a closer look. So I traded in my Louis Vuitton handbag for a backpack, something I honestly thought I would also never do, and I went east. So I studied yoga science and various healing modalities, and I found my calling. My life changed, and I was eager to bring that change to others. So I learned how to get specific results like the results I achieved, but in record time. I learned the specific techniques to enjoyably and sometimes even effortlessly instigate beautiful, profound change in people's lives and how to make it work for anyone. So I spent years developing a system that harnesses the power of mind and body in order to create magic. And parts of that system I will be sharing with you here today. So I founded Mind Body Magic so that I can bring the same peace, healing, and joy to others as was given to me, so that I can bring people bliss. So I currently have two 12-week programs that I run, the Bliss Project and the Bliss Method, but I'll get into that a little bit later. So just to give you an idea of some of the stuff I do. So Graham had really bad acid reflux amongst some other things, some other issues, and no matter what he did, they didn't go away. And it was happening for about 10 years when we met. So after about 2 weeks of working with me, Graham was completely cured and it hasn't come back. Completely cured, guys. So I'm not saying that in 2 weeks your problems will be completely solved, but that was certainly the case for him. And then there's Kiki. So Kiki was 38 years old when we worked together, and she had problems conceiving. She had endometriosis, which can make getting pregnant difficult. Shortly after working together, Kiki got pregnant and now has a little girl. So I actually spoke to her recently and asked after her daughter, and she said, and I quote, "You know it's because of you she's here." I mean, can you imagine hearing something like that? I mean, can you imagine? I have the best job in the world. And then there's Bilal. So Bilal came to me with depression. He was diagnosed depressive, and he was seeing a therapist and on a regular basis for years and was also diagnosed bipolar. However, I helped him to see that actually that diagnosis was incorrect, the bipolar bit, and it was. He wasn't bipolar. So there are so many misdiagnoses out there, unfortunately, with so many people running around on damaging, life-altering medication that they should not be on. And this was one of them. And my heart really goes out to these guys, because can you imagine that one meeting with one incorrect, not present, not paying attention doctor, non-committed doctor, with one wrong prescription can mess up your life so much, because that stuff seriously throws you off track mentally and emotionally. And it's your mind and your emotions that essentially form a basis for you enjoying your entire life. Anyway, Bilal changed a lot during our time together. He stopped seeing a therapist, is much, much happier, and is no longer on any kind of medication, which I'm extremely happy about. And this is only a tiny picture, a tiny piece of the picture I'm giving you. There is so much that happens behind the scenes that is equally magical. All of life can really open up for you. Really, parts of yourself you never knew existed. It can be such a wonderful journey. And I also know this firsthand because that's what happened to me. So I've lived in an almost constant state of awe and appreciation for years as a result of the gifts yoga and the healings I do has given me. Things that I share with you inside my courses, of course, or I tailor make to you and your needs. So this is my passion, this is my purpose and my life's work. I eat, live, and breathe this stuff, and I'm so looking forward to sharing it with all of you and changing the lives of those of you that need it. Okay, so let's get busy, guys. So the down low on real health. So these are a few truth bombs and life hacks I would like you guys to understand, that you need to understand actually going forward. So the thing is, true health is more than just an absence of disease. It is a state of internal wholeness, of mental, emotional, and physical harmony. True health is essentially a higher state of consciousness. And this higher state of consciousness is not just ideal to reach and maintain good physical health, but it is also a more fulfilling and enjoyable way of being and way to live. And this complete overhaul of your entire being is what I provide inside my courses. So the human being is a holistic being, which means that everything works together. Mind is connected to body, is connected to emotions or spirit. It is a system that is interdependent. So it is synergistic. So no part of the human works on its own, the same way no part of the body works on its own. And remember, true, real, and perfect health is achieved when the mind, body, and emotions are in harmony. Okay, now, so I'm going to give you some super effective tips on how to bring about such change. So the first point I'm going to explain, right? So pro tip number 1 is a bit crunchy, so be prepared. But once we're through, it's smooth sailing. And I would also like to take the time at this point to mention that one of the reasons I took the time to explain things to you all so extensively in this webinar is because I know that the more awareness you have, the more you understand about your body, the more mind-body connection you will have to it, even unconsciously. Which means that the faster and better progress you will make applying these teachings that I'm about to give you. Not as fast as you would inside my courses, but still, okay? So that's how powerful the mind and its connection to the body is. And there are many, many studies to support exactly this. This in itself is actually quite a deep and profound topic, which I can go on forever about, but I promise to get you all through these points today. So I'm gonna get going. So apply the tips I give you, abide by mental magic that I give you near the end, and you guys will be seeing massive improvements in no time for sure. And feel free to let me know how you are doing by reaching out on Instagram and dropping me a DM, right? So do please feel free to reach out. I absolutely love getting connected. So the heart is all about connection, okay? So reach out, please feel free. Okay, so let's dive right in. So point number 1 and 2, the 2 most important things you need to avoid and do if you are looking to heal your body and your mind, and how you can start immediately. So the absolute number one thing you need to avoid is stress. Okay? So getting stressed. Now, I know this seems so simple and basic and much easier said than done, but let's go over this quickly from the perspective of basic physiology and from a holistic one too. So there are multiple kinds of stress and multiple ways it affects our system, but for the sake of brevity, I'm only going to mention some. So physiologically, the reason stress is the biggest killer on the planet is because it affects the autonomic nervous system, which in turn affects all important bodily processes. So our nervous system controls every single function in our body. And our nervous system is intimately connected to our mind, our perceptions, and our mental state, and to our stress response. So I'm going to mention that one more time just to make sure you heard it. Our nervous system, which controls every single function in our body, is intimately connected to our mind, our perceptions, and our mental state, and to our stress response. So this is the crunchy part I warned you about, guys. So listen closely and I'll keep it short. I'm going to keep it simple and only talk about our autonomic nervous system, which is the involuntary automatic part of our nervous system. So our autonomic nervous system controls things like our heart rate, circulation, digestion, metabolism, hormone production, blood pressure, and sexual function. Basically, every single system that is imperative for health and well-being is affected by our ANS. And remember, the human being is holistic, which means every system is intertwined and dependent on the other, which also means that the strength or weakness of one system affects the strength of the other systems as well as the strength of the whole. Okay, so synergy. So what's great about this is that when the correct improvements are made, results are pretty great because it's the whole body working together. So all of these autonomic functions are affected by the stress response and feelings of stress. But remember, it is your perception of a situation that determines your emotional response, not the situation itself, which is why learning to tame the mind is paramount. If your emotional response is stressful, fearful, or constricting, then your brain releases multiple extremely harmful stress chemicals into your bloodstream and to all of your cells, which shut down the cell's growth process and cripple the immune system. So on a petri dish, you can actually see healthy cells moving away from the cortisol to the other side. It's freaky. However, if your emotional experience at any given moment is a positive one, then the chemicals released are oxytocin, growth hormone, and serotonin, which are all very beneficial, restorative, and nourishing to your cells. So in regards to chronic problems, getting healthier is really very simple. Stay positive, don't stress, and you will eventually become healthier. But easier said than done, right? Because if we could accept and control our minds to begin with, we wouldn't have problems, mess, and stress. So we have two parts to our autonomic nervous system. It's like an on and an off switch. So the on switch is sympathetic mode, also known as stress mode, which is unfortunately, most people's autopilot. The off switch is parasympathetic mode or relax mode, which is where we want to be because it's good for overall health, fulfillment, as well as aesthetics. It is repair mode and it is super, super important. So this state is ideal for overall health because it undoes all of the damage we have done and keeps us in homeostasis. Essentially, it allows our body to activate our inner pharmacy and empower the innate healing mechanisms. This state for many people, however, is unfortunately elusive. And do you guys want to know something wild? From a holistic point of view, most people are actually chronically stressed and they don't even realize. So you might not think you are chronically stressed, but you probably are. You just don't know that you are stressed because you don't know what it feels like to be truly relaxed and truly aligned. You just know what, quote unquote, not stressed feels like, which is not the same as relaxed or at peace. So you might be sitting there like, I'm not stressed, I'm relaxing right now. But honey, unless you consistently feel absolutely freaking blissful in your body, your brain, and heart, and you are humming with vitality, you are neither healthy nor relaxed. Which is why so many people have things like difficulty getting out of bed, bloating, pain, laziness, insomnia, acne, weight gain, inflammation, all kinds of things. But on the plus side, that means there is so much more health and joy out there still available to you. But moving on. So, this stress response, these on and off switch modes, are evolutionary traits that go back to early man. So, when our ancestors were living in caves and forests, the biggest threat to their survival was being eaten by lions and tigers, right? So, imagine an ancestor walking in the jungle and he comes across a tiger. Uh-oh, what happens? A threat, fear. His body kicks into SNS mode to help him survive as best possible, which means all unnecessary bodily functions shut down to give more energy to his muscles and reflexes. This is the crunchy part, guys, right? So I warned you, okay? So just stay tuned. It's a little bit more, and then we're through, okay? So what happens is his body kicks into SNS mode to help him survive as best possible. So all unnecessary bodily functions shut down to give more energy to his muscles and reflexes in order to prepare him for action. So digestion, hormones, everything to fight or flee. That is why it is called this flight or fright response. So the stress response is an emergency survival response. Except these days, because of the highly demanding lifestyles we adopt and how quickly societies have developed in recent decades in comparison to the millennia it takes our physiology to evolve and for evolution to take place, emergency survival isn't about fighting a tiger anymore. It's getting to work on time, or an email from our boss, a pile of laundry, a cry from our baby, sometimes even a comment from someone. It depends on how sensitive and resilient you are and what's in your subconscious. So, if you are suffering from a chronic health problem, then your resilience and perception certainly need work. And these kinds of anxious and repeated thoughts are crippling, guys, not just to your wellness, but also to your personal or spiritual expansion and development as a human being, as it blocks you from what is really out there. Stress is a modern disease. And so many people have subconscious stress, right? So triggers and trauma that they're not aware of, which exist at the root of every single disorder and disease. And you might have all kinds of reasons, logic, or justifications for why these stresses or thoughts exists. So you don't see or recognize them as imbalances, but that is what they are. These mental emotional imbalances need to be addressed in order for the system to recalibrate properly, which is something we do in my programs. This is actually a really big, fascinating, and beautiful topic, which affects you in different ways and benefits you in different ways also, which I do not have the time to get into here today, but I do go in depth on and explain inside my courses. So demands on our time and minds have grown. Demands on our time and minds and expectations of our behavior as well have grown exponentially since the development of technology and less natural ways of living. So our nervous systems and physiology have yet to adapt to such changes. Just think about all your first world problems for a second, guys, okay? So I don't want to get out of bed. Oh, I don't want to be late. Oh my God, I'm going to be late. Oh, the traffic is bad. Will I get on this bus? Oh my God, what does my boss think? Or will I get my promotion? Or like, oh, balls, I cracked my phone screen. Or I need to rush to the gym. Oh, this grocery basket is so heavy. Or I'm exhausted, but I still have to cook. Or am I skinny enough? Does he like me? What do people think? Or oh my God, I have so many emails. Or I love my kids, but I'm so exhausted, but I feel bad to think that. I mean, how many of these thoughts run through your mind on the daily? And how often? All of these contribute to low-grade chronic stress, which the body is not prepared for. Watch your thoughts, guys. What are you thinking? What is the nature of your thoughts? So, all of these contribute to low-grade chronic stress, which the body is not prepared for. And the body is not prepared for it because evolution takes place over the course of millennia, while stress is a very modern condition. So as a result, chronic illnesses as a result of chronic stress are at an all-time high. 1 in 4 people in the US have heart disease. I could rattle on with statistics forever, but that's not why you're here. We live in a society where people need to drink alcohol or smoke pot just to become more relaxed and more themselves. How ridiculous is that? This is all symptomatic of a much bigger problem. So on a personal level, on an individual level, how do we combat such a problem? In my courses and private coaching program, the Bliss Project or the Bliss Method, I provide highly personalized, specific, and efficient methods, of course. But how can one begin to tackle such an issue independently and immediately? And this brings me to pro tip number 2. And the number one thing you must do in order to heal your body, correct your mind, and have any semblance of true joy or fulfillment in life, really. Now, this must seem super, super obvious after the last point, but I'm going to reiterate it anyway, and that is relaxation. True relaxation is a game changer. Really. Now, I have more specific, targeted, and expedited approaches to relaxation depending on your goals and ailments inside my courses, of course, but generally speaking, relaxation and teaching the brain and body new ways to behave is the way to go. So I mean real relaxation, right? So not being stressed is not the same as relaxed. I'm talking about deep, deep relaxation. So relaxation inside the body and inside the mind, inside the subconscious. So sitting around at home without much to do does not count as relaxation. Neither does chilling on the sofa watching TV. Because guess what? You can get stressed watching TV, 100%. Same goes for scrolling through Instagram. I promise you, you just don't realize yet. Comparing and despairing, watching violence, suspense, getting emotionally attached to characters and worrying how something's going to turn out or if the two of them are going to hook up, all stressful. Witnessing someone being stressed, also stressful. It's everywhere. And you might not realize unless you know what you are looking for and unless you have something else to compare to. And a day at the spa just won't cut it, guys. You need training and consistency. You need recalibration. You need reprogramming. Your nervous system needs reprogramming. You need an update, you guys. You need to update your iOS. Which is why in my programs, we work one-on-one together to find your stress points and remove them and make you more resilient overall. It's magical. So, relaxation and feeling good, all pretty simple, right? The not so simple part, however, is the not so simple part, however, is feeling good more often than not, which is where many people struggle, or how to feel good in stressful situations. And also developing the self-awareness to know when you are feeling good and knowing what feeling good actually feels like, so you know how to identify what not feeling good feels like and how to change it. So in the sense that I am speaking, I mean, right? So how to feel good in the sense that I'm speaking. It's just that so many people in society are conditioned for stress that they don't know any different. This is where we work in depth inside my programs to make developments to your psyche and physiology that will stay with you and serve you for life. And remember, true health isn't just being free from disease. It's achieving a higher state of consciousness and mind-body integration that will keep you disease-free. This is how we can make sure your healing and rejuvenation is sustainable. So imagine not just being healthier, but also fitter, happier, sexier, more confident, more energetic, more intelligent, more inspired, more creative, disciplined, productive. All of these things. And imagine that it was all effortless and enjoyable. Effortless, definitely compared to what most of you are doing right now. So that is what we do inside my 12-week programs. Not only will every area of your life improve, but you'll get more than ever out of life. You'll begin feeling and functioning at a completely new level. And what's actually interesting is the degree to which you are sick or afflicted is a direct indication of how far you are from touching your potential for fulfillment as a human being. But this is a topic for another time. So, as an extra present to you, I have an extra gift for all of you watching, and that is a medicinal meditation I created. This is not the gift I mentioned in the beginning, that is still coming. This gift is a relaxing visualization healing meditation that is obviously very healing. And there is an extremely strong scientific basis for how and why visualizations work and how it stimulates regions of the brain, just like real, actual action, which I will not get into detail on at this time for the sake of brevity, but I will tell you Tiger Woods has used it, Muhammad Ali has used it, people with strokes have used it, and Russian scientific studies on their Olympics teams have used these techniques with remarkably positive, supportive, and even remarkable results. So for this gift, go to my Instagram, Nadine Al-Huneidi, and click on the link in my bio and you will find your free medicinal meditation. So there you are, guys. Now you learned about stress, relaxation, and the power of mind and visualization. So boom, now get to work. Okay, so point number 3, my secret weapon. So my secret weapon and the tool that I use to change the lives of all of my clients, which will probably come as no surprise because I've mentioned it a few times already, is yoga. So yes, yoga. Yoga is everything. Yoga is a medicine, it's a therapy, it's a workout, and all at once if you do it right. And it's an extremely accurate tool for personal development and spiritual expansion. So because yoga works so intimately with the body and mind, it's one of the best ways to enhance all physical and mental function. So just as any admirable aspect of the human condition can be amplified using yogic practices, any body part, organ, or system can be strengthened and rejuvenated. This is the essence of true yoga science. I can only begin to explain to you here the magic and beauty yoga has brought to my life and the lives of others and those around me. And there are numerous studies out there how yoga went places medicine could not, curing and reversing things like osteoporosis and heart disease naturally. Things that many people thought were initially incurable. And in many cases, many instances where yoga was far better than any medication. So if you are not doing anything currently, then almost any kind of yoga will benefit you for sure in some way. There even exists yoga that shrinks tumors and things that you can do to avoid surgeries by activating the body's innate healing mechanisms. And doctors don't really know these kinds of things, guys. Doctors know medicine, much of which is centered around prescribing medicine, hence the name. Holistic health is a totally different approach. The only approach to chronic health problems, in my humble opinion. So this is not fitness yoga, although I do that sort of thing too. The kind of specific yoga I employ for therapy, you will not find in gyms or studios, nor have I ever seen it online in all my years of trolling YouTube. So if you are not doing anything currently, then almost any kind of yoga will benefit you in some way or another. However, there are certain things more suitable to specific conditions and things that will expedite your healing process. So for those of you that have chronic health problems that need solving, you will save a lot of time, money, and effort and achieve better results in faster time and get more support by enrolling into the Bliss Project or the Bliss Method with me, which I will get into more detail about a bit later. So one of them is my private coaching program, and the other is a group coaching course where we meet once a week on Zoom, and I give you loads of videos and audios and things to do in between that are all much more enjoyable and pleasurable than you might think. Both last 12 weeks, both are extremely effective and completely and totally wonderfully transformational. So the group one begins on June 28th and enrollment shuts on the 26th. So make sure you get in there now to avail all of the wonderful things that's inside. So if you are interested in the private coaching, then definitely book in a complimentary connection call now by clicking the links you see and filling an assessment form. Now do that because these spaces are extremely limited and go quickly, as I only have so many in the hours in the day to provide you with tailored approaches and special attention. And it is on a first come, first serve basis. So if you think something like this is for you and you want my support and you are ready to feel, look, and function likely better than you ever had in your life, then get in touch right now, because otherwise you won't be able to get in for another 12 weeks. Okay, guys, so point number 4, and the one health hack that you must make sure that you are doing and achieving on the daily is staying positive. Once again, like relaxation and not stressing. So simple, yet sometimes so elusive, especially if people do not have the correct judgment on what positivity actually is. See, it's easy to see after understanding the stress response how positivity is so powerful. Because positivity links directly to nourishing body chemistry and promotes relaxation and counterbalances stress. But yet, unfortunately, somehow people still undervalue it when it comes to health. There is a branch of science that exists called psychoneuroimmunology, and it's a relatively recent science, about 20 years old now. Now, as you can guess from the name, it studies a link between the psyche and the immune system. And of course, all the research points towards that the more positive and uplifting a person is, the better their overall health and the easier they recover from illness and disease. Okay, now I'm going to hit you with a little neuroscience. Get ready, but it's simple, I promise. So there exists a part of our brain called the reticular activating system. The reticular activating system, or RAS for short, is a pencil-shaped bit that sits at the back of the head just above the spinal cord. It is our brain's filter and is responsible for filtering out information from our senses and feeding into our consciousness information that it deems relevant. And the way it deems which information is relevant or not is by noticing our patterns and what we pay attention to. We train our consciousness. We also train our reality, but that's another topic. But let's stick to the RAS for today. We train our RAS. So the RAS hones our perception. It is an extremely useful part of our mind, but unfortunately, largely undervalued, as we can conclude when we look at the kinds of garbage people allow into their minds nowadays. Garbage thinking. Studies show that 75% of all our thoughts are negative, recycled, and redundant at a minimum. So at a minimum, 75% of our thoughts are negative, recycled, and redundant, which is frankly a ridiculous number. A lot of the studies I was looking at say actually 92%, but I'm just going with 75 because, So if 75% of our thoughts were negative and therefore stress-inducing, no wonder why so many people have imbalances, symptoms, problems, and diseases. Also, imagine how much more joy and beauty there is to life that you are not seeing because you're not focusing or looking in the right places. So the RAS helps us to filter information and to focus. We have thousands and thousands of external stimuli asking for our attention every day and endless opinions and perspectives to choose from. Our subconscious can process about 11 million bits of information a second, while our conscious can only process 40. What that tells us is that there is a lot of information out there, and that we filter an enormous amount of it out by the things we choose to pay attention to. And that is the job of the RAS. It helps us to filter out the information that is most relevant to us, or what we train our brains to think is relevant. Much like how an architect will notice buildings more, while a photographer will notice beauty. So if we're training our minds badly, it is like feeding yourself garbage. So imagine how much healthier we would be, right? So the RAS essentially filters the world through the parameters we set for it. So imagine how much healthier we would be if instead of having negative thoughts 75% of the time triggering our stress response, that we were at 50% or 20% or 10%. In my programs, I provide many simple tools and techniques to change your inner dialogue and transform the inner landscape of your mind, right? So everything. So one of the things I do is encourage healthy neuroplasticity. So healthy neuroplasticity is neuroplasticity is when the structure of your brain is altered over time. So 60% of our brain is actually made out of gray matter, which are neural pathways that develop from learned patterns, perspectives, and behaviors. So your perspective is also a behavior. So when you change the way you think, you change the way you feel and behave, which then changes your entire life, like what happened to me. However, for many of you watching this, especially for those of you with undesirable health conditions or those who suffered traumas, I can guarantee that much of your learned behavior doesn't serve your best interests. But imagine if it did. And this brings me to mental magic. So one of the tools I use to encourage positive neuroplasticity, and the gift I promised you at the beginning, this is a tool and a guide that I myself also live by. So yeah, I'm just going to say that again, just because it's important. When you change the way you think, you change the way you feel and behave, which changes your entire life. And that's exactly what happened to me. So, mental magic helps you to train your mind so that you focus more on the positive. It helps you to cut out the thoughts and energies and patterns that don't serve you, which naturally makes room for better ones and shifts your focus. It helps you to trim the fat, essentially, to trim your mental fat, and is also a really good exercise in awareness and to discover things about your behavior. By the way, I mean trim the mental fat metaphorically, right? Not literally, okay? So anyway, so it's a really good exercise in awareness and to discover things about your behavior. So screenshot it, print it out, stick it on your fridge and on your desk, let it become your Bible. You can also find it via the link in my bio on my Instagram. So one of the things the Mental Magic Manifesto suggests, for example, is not to find reasons to complain. So this guide works best. Just take a moment just to make sure you understand this so that it works for you best. So this guide works best when you have the awareness and discernment to know what constitutes complaining, for example, or what constitutes negativity. It's subjective in some cases. So sometimes you might think that you are just sharing your opinion or your perspective, or sharing what happened to you. But in fact, the energy you are embodying is one of complaint, because you're probably complaining about something. So as a general rule of thumb, I revert back to the teachings of many kindergartens all over the world with, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Or as Rumi puts it, before you speak, let your words pass through 3 gates. Is it true? Is it necessary? And is it kind? And I leave you with that for today. So for those of you that want and need more, so for those of you that have issues that need unraveling and conditions or disorders you want to see the other side of, so for those of you that need professional support, and for those of you that are interested in becoming the healthiest and happiest version of yourself and to save time, money, and energy in doing so, then click the link to enroll into the Bliss Project or the Bliss Method. But before we get into that, there is something I need you all to understand first. Nothing changes unless you do. Nothing will change unless you do, guys, and you're the only ones responsible for your health and your happiness, no one else. Remember, if you do what you have always done, you will always get what you have always gotten. I can make this transition so much easier, much more effective, and so much more enjoyable for you. So you have 2 choices. You can try and heal yourself on your own and run around in circles, spending years of effort, time, energy, and exasperation trying different things and dropping them, and maybe sticking to some, but still not getting optimal results like you would in the hands of an expert. Or you can go with a tried and tested method that gets proven results. You can make a commitment and enlist the help of a professional and progress towards optimum health and wellness faster and more easily, while also accessing your potential as a human being that will enrich every single area of your life and have life really open up for you while getting a really fantastic education along the way. Mental and physical health and wellness is the basic foundation of our life. So if you don't have that right, everything else will undoubtedly always be rocky. So go sign up. I am so looking forward to meeting you. So the Bliss Project is my private one-on-one coaching and mentoring program, and the Bliss Method is my group coaching course. Both programs consist of 12 weeks of health, wellness, and epic transformation. It is truly beautiful and life-changing in there, guys and girls, I promise. But can I guarantee you will be completely cured and reborn by the end of it? No, I cannot, because I cannot guarantee that you stick to the program and do what is asked of you. But will you get results if you show up and apply the methods and teachings? 100%. So the Bliss Method, the Bliss Method is the group coaching program and costs $1,000 for the 12 weeks. So for only $84 a week, you can completely transform your health and your life. So click the link to pay and enroll and to submit your assessment form so that I can make sure you are in the group best suited to your condition. So enrollment for the Bliss Method ends on the 26th June and the course begins on the 28th. So make sure you get in there now. And now for those of you that want an expedited and more tailored approach, if you want more support and extra guidance, and if you really want to move faster and go deeper to get the absolute best results possible and specific to you with regular expert advice and one-on-one coaching, and if you like shortcuts and if you want personal attention, or you have a condition that requires a little extra care, maybe something unusual, then book a connection call with me today for the Bliss Project. So click the link, fill an assessment form, and book a call. Spaces for my private coaching are extremely limited as there are only so many hours in the day for me to provide you with special attention. So if you think this is right for you, then click the link now, fill in your assessment, and book a connection call with me, and let's get blissful. So we work intimately together. I give you one-on-one subconscious therapy sessions and classes and all kinds of great stuff. It is seriously, seriously incredible. So go book now. So ladies and gentlemen, that is all I have for you today. Thank you for joining me. I am so looking forward to connecting with you inside my courses or on Instagram or Facebook. So remember to connect with me on Instagram, follow me, and click the link in my bio to get the bliss sheet and the meditation. I wish you all health, happiness, bliss, many blessings, and a wonderful, beautiful, fantastic rest of day. Bye. Bye. And peace out, brothers and sisters.